Hey there, my name is Philip and I'm here to tell you news about Reynard and our progress that we made. In previous video we've showcased the weapons and the runes. Now we've actually created an inventory, but before we go to the inventory I'd like to show you the slimes. As you can see, the slimes are pretty new. I mean, they have new sprites and stuff, and now when they get attacked they're gonna display a health bar. So for example, if I hurt the slime, the health bar's color will be blue, which means that this type of enemy has a water-based health. And if we destroy the slime, he's also gonna spawn the loot. If I'm gonna attack this green slime, it has a red health bar, which means that it is very vulnerable towards every different damage than a normal attack. So for example, it can get hurt by fire, it can get destroyed by, I don't know, blunt attacks, etc, etc. I've also added different areas. Now the areas are, for example, basement. If we go to the basement, you can see that we're gonna be able to find different treasures and stuff like that. For example, here is the rune, here's a boomerang, there's an ice sword, and here's a bomb. And as you can see, we've also overhauled the HUD system. Now the mana bar, I mean stamina bar, isn't blue anymore because blue stands for mana, and we'd like to imagine his energy bar as a stamina or something else, but definitely not mana, because this stamina bar gets drained down if he attacks, if he runs, and everything. Basically everything he does, the stamina bar is going to be drained a little bit. Now for example, if I pick up the bomb, bombs were introduced in the previous devlog, but if I place them now, you're gonna be able to see in the HUD that it has a cooldown. I place it, boom, and I can place it again and again and again. So basically we went for this simple, how should I say, slots with different color markings. For example, melee weapons are marked with green underline. The ranged weapon will be marked with the purple underline. As you can see now, boomerang is here. It's purple, but we don't have implemented cooldowns for these weapons because it's an animation-based attack. We're not gonna display a cooldown or anything like that. Okay, let's go to another area. This is house. So if I go to house, you also have a little bed, you know. Here's the place where the Reynard is sleeping with his wife, and here's the place for the kid. A little table, a fireplace, and books, because they're smart animals, you know. Okay, now the biggest thing, inventory. Now, as you can see, this inventory is quite simple, but for example, here on the left side, there will be different items. Here you will be able to see consumable items, usable items, runes, and stuff like that. Otherwise, the weapons, I mean the basic equipment, will go here in these dedicated slots, for example, that are colored black. So when you go to an item, you will see the item's name, its type. For example, this is a sword, bronze sword. It is a melee weapon. It is a sword Reynard found in the forest 5 years ago. And down below, the description, item's description, you will be able to see different item stats. For example, this sword deals +1 normal damage. It has a +300 knockback power, and it costs a user 1 stamina. So for example, if Reynard swings, he's gonna be using 1 stamina, just because he's swinging this sword. So now, this sword doesn't have any rune slots, but okay, we want to showcase you this sword with a rune slot. For example, if I pick up this ice sword, this sword has place for 3 runes. For example, ice damage rune. It's not actually freezing the enemies, but it's slowing them down. So for example, if we go outside and if we're gonna have an enemy which has health type that is very vulnerable towards ice damage, for example, it's a fiery enemy, it's gonna have a 200% damage. So for example, it's not gonna deal one ice damage, it's gonna deal 2 ice damage. And additionally, it slows down the enemy for 5 seconds for 60%, and it gives you the penalty of 1 stamina cost. So for example, if we sum these things together, this is costing us +1 stamina cost, and this one is also +1 stamina cost. Together, it all drains 2 stamina. As you can see, 90, 88, 86, 84, and so on. So basically, the more runes you have, the higher the penalty you get. Now, let's pick out the runes, because the point is, if you pick up another weapon, your previous weapon will get banished. Basically, this inventory is going to work like some kind of a void bag. These black slots are here, and they represent a replaceable item, but which you cannot drop or you cannot put in any other slot. So if you find a better equipment, I'm gonna soon add a little HUD window which will display the item stats that you can pick up, and then you will have to decide, okay, it's a better sword, it has more rune slots, it has less rune slots, but it has greater base stats, and you will only be able to carry one sword, one ranged weapon, one special weapon, and one type of armor. So okay, if we go to the fire sword, and if we pick it up for now, let's see the base stats. So it is melee weapon, it is believed that its base is made out of the dragon's tooth, don't dragons breathe fire, blah blah blah, okay, the lore is common, everything's gonna be figured out. But what is interesting, you can see that it deals from 1 to 5 fire damage, so basically it deals a random damage, plus it has 1 fire damage for 5 seconds. So for example, if we go outside, and if we actually hit this bush, it's spreading the fire, and now I killed myself. But okay, let's go back inside. Sorry for that, but we're not immune to fire. If we would have some kind of armor which is actually immune to fire, we wouldn't be able to catch the fire itself. But okay, let's go to the fire sword. Other thing that is interesting is that it's dealing a higher knockback. It has +1 stamina cost, plus it actually drains your health. So for example, you have to swing the sword very responsibly. If we're gonna swing the sword, we're gonna see that our health is also getting reduced. Bam, 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 bam. And if we swing like maniacs, we're gonna die. Bam, bam, bam. The next thing that I've added, this is new, is actually I've added armors. If I get attacked, boom, you can see that this slime now dealt 2 points of damage. But if I pick up the armor, this is the Pariah's armor. Just for a second, let's go here and I'm gonna showcase you what this armor is protecting us against. You can see that it has 10 hits till it breaks. We still have to figure the right balance when the player is gonna play through the dungeons. How many % of the equipment will be breakable, repairable, and stuff like that. But okay, that's another story. But now if we go to that slime, which is gonna follow us, for 10 seconds we're gonna be immune. If we go here, we can see 9 hits, 8 hits, 7 hits, blah 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 blah. And after the armor breaks, we're gonna die. And now we're dead. Defensive equipment will also have rune slots. And it isn't the basic plan that they would function only as, how should I say, as a protection from attacks, but also as a reflective damage. For example, if you're gonna have fire reflect rune or something like that, if the damage that is like fiery comes to you, it's gonna be reflected back to the attacker or something like that. So we're gonna still implement that. In previous log, I was showing you how you can throw the boomerang, which picks up a bomb, and the bomb explodes. Now here's a little addition. We can swap this rune with the ice damage rune. Now this basic combination, it will actually deal an icy damage in a radius of a bomb blast. So for example, if we go here and if we place this bomb, the slime's gonna be affected. Okay, I've exaggerated with the, how should I say, knockback and explosion force, but still it's quite fun. So for example, if we place it down here and we throw a boomerang, boom, everything gets frozen. Same goes with the fire rune. If you put in a fire in a bomb, everything that is damaged by a bomb is gonna catch fire. So you will have different stuff to experiment with that. And yeah, in the future we're also planning to add different special items. I don't know, I don't want to predict, but somehow I really want to implement a hook shot, you know, so that you would hook yourself towards the wall and pull yourself closer to it. And if you would, how should I say, if you would aim for the target, you could bring a target closer to yourself and attack him much quicker and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's going throughout my head and throughout the team's head. And stay tuned if you want to see more in the future. And let us know what do you think about the game in the comments down below. Till next time, have fun.